Hello guys, what is going on? I'm Nozda and welcome back to another video. If you didn't see yesterday, last night, today, technically, it was about 12 hours ago, I posted my non-spoilery Avengers Infinity War review. Now, just in case you didn't read the title or you misread it, this is a spoiler-filled review. I'm going to be talking about specific scenes, because if you just want to talk about, if you just want to see my overall opinion of the movie, as well as like the aspects of like filmmaking that went into the movie, then just watch my non-spoiler review. I'm not going to be repeating what I've already said, because there's no point. I'm just going to be talking about specific scenes, specific moments, and characters that I couldn't have said in my non-spoiler review because it would have been spoilery. So let's talk about the Black Order first of all. If you don't know, because they weren't called the Black Order in the movie, they were actually just referred to as the Children of Thanos. The Black Order were the group of people that followed Thanos around and did his bidding. And you know, I just want to talk about them first of all. So Ebony Maw, who was sort of like the Doctor Strange equivalent of the group, because they all sort of had their equivalents. Well, kind of like the two people, Proxima Midnight and Corvus Glaive, that's his name. The two people who sort of like just went around with the little swords and stuff like that. They were kind of just like Black Widows and stuff like that, Black Widows and Captain Americas. And then you had Cole Obsidian, which was the huge hulking guy, and they weren't really that good. They didn't have to be, but it was weird the fact that they put so much. They put a lot of effort into Ebony Maw's character. The voice acting and the actual portrayal was incredible, of course. Like with every single character in this whole movie, apart from one, which I'll get onto in a minute. But you know, because Ebony Maw, he was the first person to sort of have like he was like the first voice of the movie. And then he was like the main antagonist when it came to the fight with the fight in New York. And he was just really, really cool, and I like that character. And the fact that he was the first one to die was kind of annoying, but then again, he was by far the most powerful, so it made sense. But yeah, the movie runtime was closer to 3 hours than it was to 2, so I understand why they didn't want to put any more emphasis on the Black Order. But like there was no point anyway, because they already really did Thanos justice. I thought, and I imagine the process of the Thanos writing was that we're gonna write and we're gonna act a shit ton of stuff. Like if you don't know now, they cut out like an hour of Thanos backstory and like Thanos, like the stuff to do with Thanos, and they're actually gonna make a novel which is gonna come out in November. But I bet the process of that was that they had the full movie with all that in, and they slowly started cutting stuff away. And then they got to the point where they cut something and they were like, this isn't good anymore. And so they just added a bit more back in. Like, this is the sweet spot. Because the only reason why they would cut Thanos stuff out is just for runtime. That is it. So yeah, I don't really blame them for the Black Order stuff. But honestly, almost every single gripe I had with this movie, I'm doing the gripes first, because honestly, throughout the movie, I was trying to remember gripe. Like, I used to go, oh yeah, that wasn't quite perfect. But the problem is after like 10 minutes, I'd forget what that was. And obviously then it's not that important if I forget what it is after like 10 minutes. So the only reason why I'm doing the gripes first is because it's on the list first. Because after the movie, while waiting for the credits, while waiting for the end credit scene, because I want to see that twice as well, just in case I missed anything. I was just writing every single thought I could think of down. There was one thing that kind of annoyed me with Thanos, and that was sort of the inconsistency with his morals. Because throughout almost all of the movie, he didn't kill anybody unless he needed to. Like, for example, on the Titan battle, as soon as he got the stone, he could have killed them all. He could have killed them all if he wanted to, but he was like, no, I don't need to. That's going to happen later, and it's going to be completely at random. Because that was his thing. He didn't want to be unfair with who died. It was just completely at random. But at the start, he took great pleasure and at seeing, not only killing Loki, but seeing Thor's distress towards it. And I thought that was it was like, that was kind of like one of the first few scenes written, and then they built this incredible character, and then they forgot the essence of that character when they came back to the first scene to revise it. Now, going back to what I said earlier, Peter Dinklage was bad. Not in the second showing, because the second showing didn't have many people in it, because I saw it like 12 o'clock on a Thursday, so everyone was in work or school. But so you didn't get that many reactions, laughs, or like, I can't think of the word, shock, gasps. There we go. Yeah. I didn't really get many laughs and stuff like that. But in the first showing at the midnight screening, everyone was in hysterics all the time. And even in the dramatic moments with Peter Dinklage's character, there was only like 1 or 2 jokes throughout that whole entire scene, really. People were laughing. Especially when he said, "Damn it." People just like burst out laughing. Like, that's not what's supposed to happen. And Peter Dinklage, he didn't really have much to work on. It wasn't a character. It was just a plot device, really. So, I don't blame him too much. Like, it's kind of the same with the Dinklebot thing. Like, he didn't have anything to go on. If you read about the Destiny development cycle, like, he was incredibly overworked, and that might be why his acting wasn't great in that. But he didn't have much to go on. But then again, he didn't do great with what he had, and that was very distracting. That's probably one of the worst things about the movie, is Peter Dinklage. The final gripe for this movie is in the last moments. It was very predictable. As soon as basically Thanos arrived and the Scarlet Witch started destroying the Infinity Stone, everyone knew it was going to happen. Like, he was going to rewind time, obviously. But not only that, afterwards, when Thor was attempting to kill Thanos, everyone knew that. Well, they maybe didn't know that he was going to be able to like snap his fingers, because when that happened, especially when the movie ended last night when I was watching a midnight screening, no one spoke. Everyone was in like shock, and so no one expected the snap, but everyone expected like that to come up. Like, oh, why didn't you just take out my arm? So it was very, very predictable. But then again, most of the stuff wasn't. So even though it was like one of the biggest parts of the movie, it's not really anything. It's not really a problem, honestly. It was just fine. All right, moving on to the good stuff. Just to gloss over, well, not gloss over, but just like quickly just mention the stuff that I mentioned in my non-spoiler review. The action was great, and the character development, the character plot, the plot overall, everything was great. There wasn't really any flaws when it came to the filmmaking side of it. Everything was done to perfection. It was done. They were getting the job done in that sense, which is very, very good. Thanos is my favorite villain. There is no contest. There was a lot of contest between who was my favorite villain before this movie came out. Obviously, you got Loki, who was the king for a long, long time of Marvel. But then you got the Vulture, you got Killmonger, you got Hela. We started getting some really, really credible villains. But Thanos just completely just destroys any other villain, and that's down just to the writing in general. Obviously, the things that could have made it like terrible was the CGI, but that was done really, really well. Josh Brolin was great. It's just when you see this and then you see Justice League, it's just like, what went wrong? Because they're both CGI characters. They are both mocapped, yet one looks so much better than the other. It's just bizarre. Anyway, the CGI and stuff like that is not something to be praised. It's just, well, it's something to be praised, but it's not like, oh yeah, the CGI was good. It's, oh yeah, the CGI wasn't distracting. That's the key thing. If the CGI isn't distracting, then you're fine. You don't need to do anything else. Spider-Man's death scene was amazing. The fact that he doesn't say, "I don't want to die," which would have been powerful enough. He says, "I don't want to go. I don't want to go." It takes me back to that scene where he's under the rubble and he's screaming for help, because that's what a kid would do. And he's going to Tony Stark because Tony Stark is a father to him, and he's going to him and he's like, "Please do something, save me," and Tony can't do anything about it. It's back to his premonition of from Age of Ultron, where everyone's dead and he's not, and he can't do anything about it. And that was his biggest fear. That's what made him create Ultron. That's what made him sign the Accords. And the fact that it's just happened in front of him, is just so powerful. This is a sort of half gripe, half not. I was worried from the trailers because they had a lot of Hulk action they had Hulk action in the trailer for this movie, and that didn't happen, apart from right at the start. So I was very worried that it was going to completely undo all the Age of Ultron, all the Thor Ragnarok stuff with Banner not wanted to become the Hulk. And he gave us hope with the Hulkbuster stuff. But they sort of went the other direction. It was like Banner was like, right, Hulk, we've got like sort of an understanding going on now. Please come out. And because Hulk got the absolute beatdown at the start, and the fact with Thanos' second punch, he really harmed Hulk by punching him in the side of the neck, and you could hear his like wails, something which has never ever come out of Hulk before. And right there, that was when, because right at the start of the fight, Hulk was on the front foot, Hulk was punching him back, and then as soon as the tables turned, he was nothing. He was worthless in the fight because fear took over. Like they were pretty similar on the whole strength side. Like there wasn't too much difference if the gauntlet wasn't used. But it was the fear that was struck in him, but being hurt for the first time properly, that really like affected him. And at the end of the movie, Banner survives, so I wouldn't put it past like that being like a big turning point in the next movie where Hulk finally comes back out to fight Thanos one-on-one. If that isn't a scene, then I don't know what is. But then again, I've got a theory on what's going to happen with Avengers 4, so that might not even happen. I'm just going to leave it at that. If you're not subscribed, by the way, and you've made it this far through the video already, because this is going to be a long video, then thank you very much. Make sure to subscribe, because I'm going to be doing plenty of theory videos, at least one a day, for the next 3 or 4 days. I've got a few theory videos lined up. Red Skull was really cool. The fact that he came back from Captain America's First Avenger, everyone knew that he was going to appear at some point just because of how it was set up. Just he was teleported into just a random bit of space, and he was teleported to that island, and he's just been there ever since. And that was really cool. He seemed a bit CGI to me. I don't know whether he was or not. Maybe obviously that's good CGI then. But it seemed like he wasn't just like practical like he was in First Avenger, which isn't bad. It's just that was just a thing I noticed. But it was really cool seeing him. The end credit scene was really good, obviously. It was something that I expected to happen. I was, first of all, if you don't know, it was to do with Captain Marvel. I'm going to do a video fully explaining the end credit scene after this. I'll upload it today. Like a few hours after this or something, I don't know. But I was expecting it to be set in the 90s. Like I thought it was going to be a Ant-Man style. I thought it was going to be like an Ant-Man style end credit scene for Captain America Civil War, where it's actually going to be a scene from the movie, but it wasn't. But that's fine. It was just really cool that it happened. I was going to be very disappointed if it didn't, so yeah. It was a struggle to pick between the best matchup, either Thor or, like I said in the non-spoiler review, you couldn't hear the dialogue for how much people were laughing. But it's a struggle between Thor and Guardians and Peter Quill and Iron Man. That was really cool. A close third is Iron Man and Doctor Strange. But overall, that was just a really cool, just clashing of heads. And the Guardians are sort of like involved in all of that. Because the best moments, even with Iron Man and Doctor Strange, wasn't when they were bickering. It was when they were sort of like, they already became friends in the heat of battle. That was like their best moments with each other. And finally, Gamora's death scene was incredibly powerful. I'd say it was probably close to how powerful Spider-Man's was, mainly because it was given a lot of attention. It was very beneficial towards the Thanos character, and it made the last scenes of the movie, the last scene in particular, very poignant, and that was really good. It was also set like the tone for the movie from then on. It was the turning point. It was halfway through the movie, well, a bit further than halfway through the movie, and it set the stakes. They were like people, main characters that aren't out of contract, characters that have still got like scheduled movies to come out that people were expecting to be part of are gonna die. They're going to die. You might have thought that with Loki, but I think Loki has already run his course as a character. He's been in 5 movies now, sorry. And he sort of he was very much exhausted in Ragnarok, and he did sort of send him off kind of in the elevator scene right before the infamous get help scene. There was just like a conversation to signal that if Loki wasn't going to die in this movie, he just wasn't going to be in it. I think that it was sort of guaranteed, very predictable. Not bad because of that, but it was guaranteed that he was going to die. And it was good. It was really, really well shot. I'm like, wait, is this a 12? Just because of how the camera was fixated on him. And yeah, I mean, because there was a total of 7 minutes cut out of the movie for many different showings across the world, like China and India in particular. And I'd like to think that that was one of the scenes, as well as the Doctor Strange torture scene, which was good. It wasn't as like heavy as I thought it was going to be from the trailers, but it was still really good. You might think, how are you not going to give this a 10 out of 10? You've been brown-nosing this movie all, like, whatever 15 minutes this video is going to be. I don't know how long it's going to be. But there is, you know, it was great. I struggle, like, apart from a few inconsistencies and stuff like that. Oh yeah, there was one inconsistency when they were on the ship. You probably noticed this, where Spider-Man's hair was different. Like it doesn't matter. But I can't give it a 10 because it wasn't an actual perfect movie. It wasn't profound in a sense. It was epic, and it was a thriller. It had very good action. The characters were great, and it was based on like all the movies before it. But if you strip all the other movies away, if the movie stands alone, there is a lot of characters that you would, if that was someone's first movie. It's not. I'm not talking about like, oh, what are they talking about? Like when they like mention something from the past and stuff like that. I'll say when Hulk saw Black Widow for the first time in like 2 years, and Falcon said, "Oh, this is awkward," and then I wouldn't be bothered if he said, "Oh, why is that?" I'd be more. It's more like there wasn't enough characters to do a character arc for any. I mean, there was too many characters to do character arcs for people, is what I meant to say. So, you know, Captain America might as well just have been like just a robot. You know, it didn't matter that he was Captain America. It didn't matter that it was Black Panther. It didn't matter that it was Scarlet. Well, it mattered that it was Scarlet Witch. I meant to say Black Widow because I keep on trying to say Scarlett Johansson. But it didn't matter that it was them. But like I said in the non-spoiler review, if you take the movie as a Thanos movie and you see them as the villains, and you get a lot more out of it, and so I feel like that's when you can sort of let go of some of the things that I'm saying to do with like there's no character arcs and stuff like that. Because imagine 70 of the Chitauri from Avengers Assemble all getting character arcs. Like, that's not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen. You don't expect it either. So it's not a 10 out of 10 because of that, but it's definitely a 9 out of 10. I say it's 9 out of 10. Anyway, that's going to be it for now, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. Like I said, I'm going to be doing 30 videos for the next couple of days. For the next few days. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. And I shall see you in the next one. Goodbye.